Okay, this little guy has been outside my window and he's going to my husband's window. He's just going back and forth and back and forth. I know it doesn't look or feel like spring, but do you think that's what he's trying to tell me? Anybody out there speak pigeon? Welcome to Amateur Decorating Like a Pro. I am Catherine. Rain or shine, I've been prepping for some outdoor living spaces. This is last year's spring, summer, and even into fall's wreath. I had two of them on the front door. So what I decided to do, being that I typically use the blue and white throughout, I'm going to go ahead and continue onward with these. But I wanted to give you a little review. When I made this, these were stiffened with fabric stiffener and mixed it with water. I think 2 parts water, 1 part fabric stiffener. I'll correct that on the screen with some text if I'm incorrect. And they're still crunchy. And this is why they look so good. I mean, sustainability. If you're going to create a wreath and you love it and you want it to last and maybe come back later and do a little bit of an update to it, then by all means use fabric stiffener. Okay, I've got some fruit here that I used on my Christmas tree. So I want to add some lemons into this. So I'm going to show you what I plucked these from, because you guys remember that botanical Christmas tree that I did some time ago. And there were little clusters of mixed fruit. So these already have the wire attached to them, and all I've got to do is insert and attach the wire to the wreaths. I'm loving this because I also found this gorgeous little pillow at home that had the lemon print on top of it. So here are the steps that we're going to take. Hold on. We have this old faux fruit from the botanical Christmas tree. We're simply plucking out. Yeah, they even stuck together in the attic. It got so hot up there. See how easy it is to slide this out. And I'll come back later and use those oranges during the summer, or either the pears. But I also found these at the Dollar Tree. Of course, more of these left over from last year. And notice the difference in the sound. They're just soft. But when you add that stiffener, the wind blows and it does not mess them up. I mean, gosh, this is a year old, guys, and I did not take them down until late fall. I want to say early November, just to let you know how long I kept them. I'm gonna probably have to add a little hot glue right here because these easily slide off, and I just want to make sure that they stay in place. Okay, all right, so that's what we're going to do today. We're going to enhance this wreath and put it on the door, and notice how pretty this is going to look. Look at that. Just bringing that together. We've got a lemon, and then we've got these other tiny yellow flowers, which we can just kind of scatter throughout. And that's just such a pretty variety. I'm trying to hold them down to give you an idea. Well, I didn't realize that I was completely out of the frame, but I'm just applying glue around the top of the wire or the bottom of the lemon. Guys, I have put together 9 clusters for each wreath. So here is our wreath, and we're going to go ahead and stick these inside. And I thought it was easier to just go ahead and put them together so I could just slide them in and then go ahead and secure them. But I wanted you to see that all of the work had been done. So if you're like me, sometimes you can struggle with creating balance when doing things. So I know that I originally did this wreath with the north, south, east, and west with the white florals. These clusters are very helpful because I do the same thing here, north, south, east, and west, and fill in extras in between. And again, none of my new additions are attached yet. I'm just getting my layout together. And by the way, I will attach the iCard video for the wreath, the making of the original wreath. So once I had everything where I wanted it to be permanently, I then create sort of a fish hook using one tip of the wire, and I attach it to one of the wires on the wreath and just twist it, and it's in place. And then I'll go back and I'll add a few drops of hot glue around the twisted area of the little floral that I just attached to the wreath. So once I had all of my little bundles attached, I then added my little hot glue around the area where the wire was twisted. And then I cut away all those little ends where the wires are sticking out. But I do it all at one time. I've learned not to take myself too serious with these projects. I have an extra leaf, extra flower pebbles. I've got some blank spots on the leaf. Just add a little hot glue to the back of it and stick it to the wreath. All of that color, the variations in the greens and the blues, it's just going to make it more interesting. So all of the hot glue has now been applied. So now I'm just going to cut away these wires. How's this for a before and after? Just a quick observation. I decided to kind of twist some of those little yellow flowers toward the middle of the wreath. I purchased this fabric stiffener from Hobby Lobby a couple of years ago, and I still haven't used all of it. It's amazing how much use I get out of this product. No matter how many spray bottles I have, I keep thinking I have the perfect one for this kind of project. But I cannot get this fabric stiffener to just mist out of a bottle. And I guess perhaps it's because it's a little thick, and that's fine. But I do go over the wreaths twice with this application. And yes, it looks like it's oversaturated. You see that kind of milky substance forming. It does dry clear. And I go over it twice. I repeat that because I do want it to be stiff. It's very windy on our front porch, and this is how everything stays intact. I also decided to add some of the remaining clusters to this live succulent plant that I have on the front porch on this small table, just to add a pop of color in that area. It's succulents, they're pretty and green, they're in a blue flower pot, so why not just carry the theme onto the table? It has been 45 minutes, and as you can see, you can hardly even see remnants of that first application. So now I'm going to go over it a second time. Now I'm going to let this completely dry overnight because it's going on my front door. I don't want to run the risk of any of this fabric stiffener running down the glass. So completely dry overnight. We'll hang it up the following morning. Okay, everything is all dry and crunchy. Even these little guys, you can hear them. But this is what I'm saying. So this is the longevity. Got this little flower on the front porch. We'll just go down and stick those in. I attach my wreaths to my front door with fishing line. Yes, fishing line, for multiple reasons. First of all, it's very, very strong. And when the wind comes across our porch, I don't have to worry about it blowing the wreath off. They just swing back and forth on the door. I love that. Now, they are attached to a cup hook, which is on the inside of the door, and it's angled downward. And thirdly, I like for my wreaths to sit a little bit lower than the length of those standard wreath holders. They're a little short to me. And yes, it's always there, all the time, the cup hooks. Hey, hope you don't mind me pausing right here just to say this. If you're not a subscriber, consider subscribing, pressing the red button, and then ringing the bell. It's very important to our life here on YouTube. You know, we get pushed down if not enough people are subscribing to our channel. So would you do me the courtesy of pressing subscribe and ringing the bell? I'd appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, so I told you guys about that succulent plant. I'm just adding those faux plants to them. And remember, these have already had the stiffener applied and it is dry. Doesn't that look pretty already? Those pops of color against that green. You know your little outdoor pests are going to be looking for a place to stay cool this summer. And usually that's underneath your outdoor rugs. I spray the back of our rugs lightly with pesticide. Spray. The goal was to match last year's rug, which is still in good condition. I do need to spray Scotch Guard on top of it to continue to maintain that gray color. Now that little petite chair calls for a very unique kind of cushion that just cannot be found. So I buy the regular rectangular one and I cut it to the shape of the chair. The foam is a little thick, so I have to cut it little by little, but that's fine. Now I do have a problem with my thumb on my right hand. So if you see me doing things a little weird, and it looks like I'm struggling, I'm really just trying to make adjustments so I don't do any additional damage to that thumb. So a little bit at a time gets the job done. Now this is not a sewing tutorial, so I'm gonna just say this. I'm just simply trying to get the cushion in the chair to match the cushion on the bench. And the one on the bench is a little bit shorter. It should have been 49 inches. I don't know why that manufacturer decided to come up short about 3 inches. But anyway, the color was what I wanted. The other thing is, you guys are going to see me putting together lots of patterns in our home. I'm really excited about that. It's a new way of decorating for me. I tend to keep things pretty simple, but I am ready for different patterns to merge together within the same color palette throughout our home. And I'm very excited about that. I think it's fun, it's interesting, and I've really been studying that process. So I hope you guys can look forward to that. If you're interested in putting together multiple patterns and prints and all those kinds of things, working within your color palette, then stay tuned. By the way, I've already rearranged the living room, so now to really implement that in little intervals. So just stay tuned to this channel. Thanks. So you want to know how to get a large seat cushion, or shall I say one that's way too large, to go back into a seat cushion cover. First of all, roll up your foam into a roll and take rubber bands and wrap it around the foam as tightly as you can. Then slide that rolled foam into that hole on the seat cushion. Pull out the rubber bands, and the foam will expand and fill up the seat cushion. The weather, it is what it is. We are going to put down new bark and then we're going to pressure wash. And everything just has to be in a certain order. So at least we got started with the front porch. Well, that's it from me, guys. I want to thank you so much for stopping by. Thanks a lot for watching. Stay in prayer and stay creative.